Hi everybody, happy new year. Happy new year, and yeah, happy new year. Hope everybody's good and everybody's doing okay, and yeah, you're fine. So I hope everybody had a good start to the year, and yeah, just like the resolutions, all that stuff. I don't believe in resolutions just because I never follow them, but I'm starting to believe in plans and having plans and desires and things that you should be doing, that that you should really focus on and be intentional with. So I'm really like, I believe in those things, kind of thing. So, and I feel like when you do those things and everything else, like, because in a lot of people's resolutions, like exercising more or sleeping early or drinking more water, or I don't know, all these kind of things, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you will eventually also find the time to do these other things that's supposed to be part of your everyday life anyway. So yeah, just believe in plans. So I hope people wrote plans. I wrote some plans. I haven't written them yet because I'm not feeling well, but I've have plans in my mind and I'm going to write them down. And I think obviously there's something important about writing plans down, and because in having them visually present in your face all the time. So yeah, I think that's good. So I think that's good, and like it helps with following through whatever you set yourself up to do. I just want to start the year with a video, and I think I want to be intentional with filming and be intentional with filming, and because it's something I've always wanted to do, but I have a problem with discipline. I'm not a very disciplined person. I'm very hardworking and I'm very driven and I'm very ambitious, but I'm not very disciplined. Like, I like to get things done, but I take my time to get them done, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm not very disciplined basically. I have a friend that is very disciplined, and I'm like, oh, I want to be like you because you're always so disciplined. Like, she wakes up in the morning and she's like so disciplined. Obviously, shout out to Esther. Do you know what? I wish I was disciplined, and she is. She wakes up in the morning, she does things, she gets things done. She's like amazing, and it's like, that's my problem. Like, I have all these plans and I have all these visions, but there's no point having all these plans and dreams and stuff if you don't follow them through and you're not disciplined, because at the end of the day, a lot of these things take consistent intentionality. You have to be consistent and you have to be intentional consistently all the time. And that's the thing, like, I'm not really good at. Like, I'd start and I get a bit bored and I'm like, oh, this is so boring, why is it taking so long, and I get over it. And this year is about being intentional, so I want to be intentional. I don't know how many people are going to watch this video. I don't know if anybody's going to be interested, but it's something I need to do and I'm going to do it. And I think I want to start the video this year with like just laying it all out and just be honest. And 2017 was a horrible year for me. It was hard. I think 2016 was worse. 2016 was definitely the worst year of my life, like hands down. But 2017 was hard as well. And the reason why was for different things. But one of the main things is this. So we're in 2012, my last year of uni. This is after exams were done and everything, so we're talking like June period, but it was really May 2012. And my period was very irregular, so it's like coming on and off. Sometimes it would come, sometimes it won't come for like months, and then it would disappear, and it's like, oh, what's going on? So I went to the GP and I was like, my period is very regular, so I don't know what's going on in my body, so can we, maybe do a blood test or something to just check what's going on? So it's like, yeah, sure. So we did that, and then the blood tests were gone. So it's like, oh, if you will call you in a week's time to tell you what the blood tests are saying. So I was like, okay. So I was just there, finished my exam, living my life, like having parties, all that stuff, and it was great. And then, they called me in a week's time and was like, you need to come into hospital because, we need to discuss the blood test results. I was like, can you just tell me on the phone? Like, I don't get it. And they're like, no, we can't. You need to come into hospital. So I went into hospital, and then this senior doctor came and see me. I was like, okay, so serious. And it was him and another nurse. And the doctor was like, Dr. Peters, I remember him. He was very nice. And he came to speak to me, and he told me that, you know, he was asking me all these questions. It's like, do you think you've always been fit? I'm like, yeah, I've always been fit and stuff, and, you know, all that things and stuff. And then he basically told me that I have chronic kidney disease, and it was at a very serious stage. So I remember I was thinking, what? And for me, it was a shock because I've never, I used to be an athlete when I was younger. We're talking superstar athlete, you know, had a future, promised future. I'm Italian, so I was meant to, you know, compete for Italy, Olympic Games, you know, big things, famous, like I've always meant to be famous, you know, and, you know, just all that stuff. So I've always been fit, and I've always been fit, but when I was 17, I was meant to go for a competition, and I didn't go to a competition. I wouldn't make it for a competition because it was like a big competition as well, and I didn't make it because I didn't pass the medical test, and that was when I was 17. I don't remember what do you mean I didn't pass the medical test? Like, what are you guys saying? And that's because I had high blood pressure, and the disappointment of not passing the medical test because of high blood pressure, I think, made me so disappointed that I followed through for a bit. My dad pushed me to follow through for a bit and stuff, but I was so angry and disappointed at God that I was just like, do you know what, I don't want to do this athletic things anymore. Do you know what, I've got high blood pressure, fine, whatever. And so the high blood pressure was untreated, and it was treated for a bit, and then I was just, when I went to uni in the UK, when I came to uni in the UK, I just left it because I didn't care anymore. So I was like, do you know what, whatever. And then what the doctors explained to me is that the high blood pressure, they don't exactly know if that's what happened, but they are speculating that the high blood pressure puts stress on the kidneys, and over time, so from when I was 17 to that May 2012 when I was 21, over the period of 4 years, the blood pressure puts stress on the kidneys, and the kidneys are not performing as they're supposed to perform in the body of a 21-year-old who used to be an athlete. But I was like confused, because I was like, is it possible that in 4 years your blood pressure does that to your body? Like, I don't think that's even normal. And they're like, no, it's not normal, but it's what's happening, and that's all we can say. And they don't know why it's happening that fast and at that rate. And basically, long story short, in that sense, like, for somebody who was athletic like me at my age, I also put, like, your kidney function should be 120%. That's when you know your kidneys are like top-notch performance. My kidneys at the time of the diagnosis were performing at 30%. That's stage 4, and there's 5 stages of kidney failure, and I was already on stage 4, which is 30% of stage 4. So it was already quite late. There was nothing basically to do to make it feel better or to make the process slower. It was already like at the late stage, and I didn't understand at the time what that meant. I didn't really get it. So I was like, I don't know, what does that mean for me? What does it mean for my body? What does it mean for my life? Like, I don't understand what that means. But they were like, you know, explaining things to me. But I remember they had loads of conversations. My parents came. It was mad. It was actually mad. And I just didn't understand, like, the whole time I just didn't understand. But I think I was like, I don't think that's me. I think this whole conversation is about Anna, but it's not really about Anna, is it? Like, it's about someone else. And I was just so confused for a long time. I didn't understand what was going on, and I didn't understand what was happening. So do you know what? I was like, do you know what? The way these people are talking and the way everything sounds, it might look like I'm not even make it to my 25th birthday. I may not make it to my 25th birthday and stuff like that. So do you know what? I want to live life to the fullest and, you know, really go for it and make it, you know. So let's just go back to athletics. It's always been a love and passion of mine. Let's just put aside all the anger that I had with God and stuff like that. Let's just really pursue athletics. I really want to do it. I really want to do it. And so I started going and I started training again, like, after a few years. So, like, let's say it was like, what, 2013? Yeah, around 2013, 2014, I was training again. I was doing all that stuff. Yeah, 2013, 2014, I started training again. I used to do long jumps, so that's what I was going to do. athletics. So I was like contacting like the Italian Olympic team, like I'm gonna make it, and they were like, oh yeah, okay, that's fine, just you need to like be able to jump this much, which is like 6 something, and I used to jump 5 something, so I was like, yeah, I can do it, I can do it. And you know, I'm like, oh, glory, 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 I'm gonna make it to the Olympics. Like even if I die, I can say I won a medal. Even if I die, I can say, you know what, I made it to Olympics, I made it in life, you know, I've made it. And you know, I was like, yes, 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 2016 Rio is waiting for me. The disappointment of finding out that, you know, after the hard work, the training in the cold, and with this disease, the cold you feel in your body, like I'm a cold person by myself, but on my own I'm already very cold, but like this disease makes you even more cold, so I get very, very cold. Do you know what, this story is a bit all over the place, but the thing is, like, I don't have a lot of the symptoms that people with kidney disease get, and so God has preserved me in that sense, but I do get other symptoms and stuff, so it was just very tough, and the symptoms started showing up, so I had to miss loads of training sessions and stuff, because that's when I started vomiting, and I started the whole vomiting thing in the mornings, and it's just crazy, and it's just like all stuff like that. And the tiredness for me was the main issue. I was tired all the time. I was always tired. I would sleep 15 hours a day. Like I would sleep for 8 hours and I wake up and I'm like, oh guys, I'm drifting off, and then I have to sleep again. Like I couldn't hold conversations with people because I would be drifting off while I'm talking to people. It was just tiring. Like I'll be talking to you and I'll be like that, and I'm like, yeah, like I'll just be sleeping, and I was always tired constantly. And then obviously this whole time my kidney function is deteriorating. When it got to 22%, I was still training and stuff at that time. That's like 2013, 2014. One thing that, because the main side effect of kidney disease is tiredness, I have to get extra iron injections, and I also have to get a thing called EPO. And EPO is like an energy booster thing that they give kidney patients, just because your kidneys are not able to produce enough like iron and stuff, and so you have to get, I used to get iron injection, well still now, but I get iron injections, and I also get EPO on top, just like double energy booster, because honestly if I don't get any of these things I'll be sleeping all day. And there were days I slept all day, like I'll be in bed and sleep all day, and there are still days like that, but we thank God for life. So and yeah, so I'm sleeping for days and stuff. So, and the disappointing thing about EPO, I'm grateful for EPO, because EPO has saved, you know, research has advanced and stuff, and EPO was only introduced in the 80s, and EPO has changed kidney patients' life, because with EPO you have the extra energy, but because basically what EPO does is it produces more red blood cells, so you have more oxygen that goes to your brain and goes to your lungs, so you have more energy to live life. And the problem is that EPO, for, you know, the team, the Olympic team, is seen as a drug, you know, so I couldn't pass another test again, and it's just quite upsetting. Sorry, it's just very emotional for me, because it's quite emotional. So EPO is seen as a drug, so if I made it to Olympics and it's trials time, this is around like, you know, Olympics are like in the summer, so like let's say around April I go for trials and they do the anti-doping test, I don't want to say text, but anti-doping test I wouldn't pass, because the EPO is seen as a drug because it's a booster, so it's like it gives you an advantage, but it's crap because it's not an advantage. Like I need it to survive, you know, it's not an advantage. It's not an advantage because I need to survive. Like if I don't have that, I can't function. I would just be a vegetable just in bed the whole day. Like what the heck, you know? And they don't get that. They didn't get that. They don't understand that. And just, so basically that ended. That dream is over. So nobody's going to Olympics. So I didn't even watch. I remember some of my friends asking me, oh, have you watched any Olympics? I'm like, no, I'm not interested. I don't really care. So I didn't watch anything until up to today. I haven't watched anything, but it's fine. I'm actually fine. It's just, I was just upset because I was just like, the glory is gone. Like, who am I? Like, what am I going to be? Like what am I going to do with my life? Like, I thought I could do that, you know. It was so much fun, and so interesting because obviously the nurses at the hospital don't know that was what I was doing. One time, one of the nurses gave me EPOs, and then she was like, oh, you know, I'm giving some EPO. I'm like, yeah, I know what EPO is, thank you. And we're like, oh, you know, like this. I'm like, you know, she was talking to me. It's like, yeah, I'm giving you EPO, blah blah. And it's like, oh, thank God you're not going to the Olympics, are you? Like, she was like, thank God you know nothing. You're not going to the Olympics because you wouldn't pass the test. And I just not passed the test, and I started crying. And I just started crying, and then it's just like, did I say anything wrong? I'm so sorry, I know. And it's like, I just started crying. It's like, no, it's not your fault. You don't know. And I just started crying in the hospital, in the room. I just started crying, and I explained to her that actually I was, and I could have made it, but yeah, people wouldn't let me. And it's like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. It was so dramatic for no reason. Yeah. But yeah, it was just so dramatic. I just hate being dramatic. It's just like, what the heck, why are you even crying? But basically, this is my life, and it's just been a roller coaster, massive, major roller coaster. Operations. I had an infection, and I genuinely thought I was gonna die because it was that painful. And it was that bad, and they were like, if you didn't get here on time, you would have died, because I delayed the whole process because I want to go to hospital, because I was almost like, I'm fine dying, you know. And I'm not going to go to the technical nitty-gritty of everything because it's long, you know, it's really long. I've had 6 operations, 5. I've had 5 operations. 5 or 6, I can't remember it now. I had 5, 6 operations, countless scares. It's just such a debilitating sickness. Like, it's just mad, like, situations. And in all this, I have to go on. In all this, I have to go on. And what do I do? Do I still stay in England? Do I go back to Italy and stay with my family? But if I stay with my family, what would I do the rest of my time? And I'm a doer, I'm an activator, I get things done. Like, what am I going to just be like and do what exactly, you know? It's just crazy. And just so many things happened, so much stuff happened I can get into in another video, because I don't want to get into too much details, because that's not really what I want to focus on. The reason why I want to talk about this sickness that I'm facing, I'm dealing with, is because I want people to be encouraged. Nobody will ever know that I'm a sick person, because I am sick. Like, I can't sit here and be like, obviously I'm healed by faith and grace of God, but I am a sick person. I have chronic kidney disease. My function now is at 2%, and I'm now on dialysis, which means that I go to the hospital 3 times a week for 4 hours to change the blood in order to survive. If I don't go to dialysis, eventually because what your kidneys do is that your kidneys, when your kidneys work, they get rid of the toxins, all the bad stuff that you get from food and different things in your system. Not just from food, but also in general, like when, you know, because your body's working, you know, and it wastes stuff, and that's why we go to the toilet, you know, and we do our business. And when your kidneys are not working properly, they're not able to get rid of the stuff that you're supposed to get rid of. So kidney patients, for example, don't urinate as much because your kidneys are not able to get rid of as much stuff. And so they don't work as properly. And so what you have to do, and because of that, but the waste, they can get rid of it, but then so the waste stays in your body, and then it builds up. And when it builds up so high and you don't do anything about it, eventually it affects your heart, which then goes into override mode, pumps really, really fastly, and then it stops beating, and then you basically die. So I didn't go to dialysis for the longest time, because I was just believing that God would do a miracle and He healed me supernaturally, and then, you know, all that stuff. So that didn't happen, because eventually it dropped to 2%, and then I decided to go to dialysis, and so I'm on dialysis at the moment. And it's been an interesting journey physically. It's also been an interesting journey emotionally, mentally, and also spiritually, mainly spiritually, but also mentally. It was a lot for me. The mental of dealing, like, I've never been to hospital, and having to go to hospital almost like every day, and then having to go to hospital all the time every time something happens, and then, you know, it's just the mental strain the sickness has on you. It's just crazy. I'm not even making sense right now. I wish, like, you know, I prepared, like, I've got I've got my phone, like, I've got all the things I was gonna say, and now it's gone all over the place. But I just, like, when I say kidney disease, it's like such a serious sickness. There's more people that die of kidney disease than they die of cancer, just because it's not as common. Only 1 in 1,000 people in the UK is affected by it. I had to be that 1 in 1,000, obviously. It's also a sickness that doesn't affect all ages. It does affect all ages, but it's very common in your older age. So literally, whenever I go to hospital, I'm among 60 to 80-year-old people, and I'll be like the only young person there. I'm rocking up there, looking all pretty, and then everybody's looking at me because like, what are you doing here, you know? And it's like loads of like, at the beginning I used to get so annoyed when people be like, oh my god, you're so young. I'm like, shut the frick up, I'm gonna slap you in your throat. Like, just don't talk to me. Like, I didn't want anybody to talk to me. I went there, like, whenever I had an appointment, I'll just so sit, put my earphones in, angry, and I go to the doctor's room, and then he'll be like, Anna, you need to do something. I'm like, whatever, like, I was very, like, I've always been aggressive, but like, with the sickness, I got even more aggressive. Like, it was so real, guys. It was so real. Like, so much of everything. But we're going to get into all of that in another video. But like, the reason I wanted to do this video mainly and talk about this sickness is just like, it's real. You know, it's a very real thing for me. And I will literally, every time I come from dialysis, because dialysis is where so like I was saying, I'm so sorry, I'm all over the place. But like I was saying, when you go to, because you can't get rid of the toxins and it builds up, and you know you have to go to dialysis, and what dialysis does is that it changes the toxins, so it gets the toxins out of your system through a machine in an artificial kidney, and so you have to go there 3 times a week in order to be able to do that to survive. And so, you know, and you have to do all of that in order to survive. So, you know, it's quite aggressive on your body. It's really aggressive. It's a very aggressive therapy on your body, a bit like chemo, but worse, a bit less than chemo basically, but it's very aggressive on your body. And so when you come from dialysis, I always feel sick, and I always have to throw up, and I always feel nausea and headaches, and it's horrible. And literally every time I come from dialysis, I'm like, I would never wish the sickness on my worst enemy. Like, if I have a worst enemy, I would never wish the sickness on you, because it is horrendous. And you won't see it on me because I don't carry it with me. I'm not who I am. Like, I'm not, like, I don't make myself a sick person, but it's horrible. And now I've got makeup on and I've got braids done, and it's all, you're so pretty, like, it doesn't matter. But the reality is, you have no idea. Like, I don't know what morning's gonna look like. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, I don't know what today's gonna go like. Am I gonna be well? Am I gonna be well? Am I gonna be able to get out of the house? Am I gonna have to stay in bed all day? Would I be able to see anybody today? Would I have to hide myself in the house because I can't physically move? Would I throw up today, or would I not throw up today? Would I have to rush home from uni because I have to throw up and I don't want to do it at university because it's disgusting? Or, you know, or would I throw up in the street because I don't make it on time at home? It's just crazy. Every day you don't know what's going to happen. But for me, the whole journey with this sickness, it's helped me so much in becoming more vulnerable, because I definitely was not a vulnerable person. I don't really deal with my emotions. I don't like being vulnerable because I thought, you know, vulnerability is like being weak. And I don't like being weak because I ain't weak, you know. But this sickness makes me weak. Makes me weak physically, emotionally. It's been crazy roller coaster. And it's still going on. You know, I think it's so easy to do a video and say, God, this has been such a miracle. Guys, I want to talk to you about this amazing testimony I've received. Basically, I went through this sickness, which is impossible, because the reality is there is no cure for kidney disease. All this stuff is therapy. Even when you have a transplant, because people was like, oh, Anna, let's pray for a transplant. I'm like, no, pray for supernatural healing. Don't pray for a transplant. And obviously transplant will be good because it was, you know, make my life easier when I have to go to dialysis, but it doesn't make your life easier. It's another form of treatment. It's not a cure. Kidney disease hasn't got a cure. That's the reality, and that's why people die, because it hasn't got a cure. Even if I get a transplant and I get these new fresh kidneys, the complications, the side effects, the difficulties, the stuff that comes with it, and the medication I have to constantly take for the rest of my life in order for my body not to reject the new kidney. It's crazy, you know. And even when you have it, the maximum percentage you get with a new kidney is 60%. That still places me at stage 3 kidney damage. That still makes me a kidney patient. That still makes me, I have to go to hospital once in a while to check up on how things are going. You know, so it's not like supernatural healing. It's not like you're done, like you're cured and you're free to be who you want to be again, you know. This sickness is here and it's incurable. But I just want to encourage people that, look, first of all, I want to say, don't be deceived. If you think you look at people and they look good and they look like everything is fine with them, don't be deceived, because you have no idea. Like, because of the way I am, I'm very like bubbly and very outgoing and very open and extrovert. And I'm like, yeah, hi everybody, oh hi, yeah. Always like the life of the party, yeah. And so you have no idea that, yeah, I'm the life of the party now, but last night I was in hospital throwing up. Like, you have no idea. Do you know what I mean? Or I could be the life of the party now, but you don't know that this morning before I even got here, you don't know the mess that was going on in my house. Or how many prayers I had to pray to like step foot out of the bed. Like, you have no idea, you know. So let's not be deceived by what we see. Let's not be deceived by the things we, like, people we see and we think, oh, they're having a great life. Like, let's not be deceived, basically, first of all. And, you know, the amount of people I meet, you know, that in the hospital and stuff, and obviously in the hospital is different because everybody looks like, because the majority of them are like elderly, so they look sick anyways, but they look tired and sick and stuff, so that's different. But, you know, when you walk around and you see people and stuff and you spark conversation with people, and then people dealing with anxiety, people dealing with depression, where you have no idea because they look like they've got it all together and they got makeup on, it's like, you know. But the thing is, you have to do that. You have to pull yourself together. You can't just sulk every day, all day, for the rest of your life because you're sick. You know, you have to put yourself together. You have to move on. You know, these doctors, like, you know, I used to work full-time with kidney disease. I did the unthinkable. Like, I worked full-time. You know what that means? Like, it's crazy. I used to work 40 hours a week with kidney disease. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But I need money to survive. I can't go part-time because I wouldn't be able to pay my bills or do what I need to do. My parents are not here. My family's not here. I have to look after myself. It was the hardest thing that I've ever done, but I had to do it. And God gave me the grace to do it. You know, people, I'll go to the hospital, I'll do 9 to 5, and I'll quickly run home, and then I'll quickly pack my bag, and then go to the hospital for a 4-hour session for dialysis. And people, and the nurse would be looking at me like, you are crazy. What the heck? But that in itself was a testimony to God's goodness, that I had the strength to do it. Like, a lot of the kidney patients my age are just at home, you know, or maybe they're studying but not fully like that. You know, it's difficult because the energy levels they required to work full-time, go to dialysis, I'll finish at 11:30, 12 midnight, come home by 12:30, wake up at 7 to go to work. It was mad. And a lot of times I couldn't make it to work. There were mornings I couldn't make it to work. There were mornings I couldn't make it outside the house and I had to walk on work and call in sick. It was just awful. It was awful. And for someone like me who's such a hard-working person, to call in sick was awful. But then it became a way of life. I have to listen to my body. I just want to encourage people to really pursue what's in your heart. Because honestly, I wasn't going to make it for I wasn't even meant to make it to my 25th birthday. I'm 28, I'm 27 now. You know, I'm 28, or 2018 now, so I'm meant to be 28 this year. Like, I wasn't meant to make it. And it's not even just because of the sickness. Like, there were different situations that happened and operations that went wrong. Things that didn't go right. I saw the tunnel and I saw the light. And I was also ready to go through the tunnel. Because when you're sick for so long and you're not, like, you weren't born sick, because I wasn't born sick. And I wasn't even ever like a sick child or a sick person all my life and stuff like that. I've never had a flu before this sickness. I never had fever or anything like that. I was always fit and healthy. So for me, it was very strange, you know, it was very hard. And so when that one operation I had, that, you know, people were ready to say goodbye to me, and I was ready to say goodbye to this world. But I was ready to say goodbye because I was so over it. I was so over this world. I was over the sickness. I was over going to the hospital. I was over believing, praying to a God who's not even answering me. I was so over it. I was so over life. I was over life. And I was like, do you know what? If you want to kill me, God, because clearly that's what you want to do, I'm fine. Do you know what? Because I'm going to heaven anyways. But I had to, but he didn't let me die. He brought me back to this world. So I woke up, I was like, am I in heaven? Because there was a light of the like, you know, the theatre room, there's a light in front of you. So I thought, is this heaven? And then I saw the doctor's face. I was like, well, you're not God. No, I'm not in heaven, so I'm back here. I mean, it's a good thing. It is a good thing. And it also shows that, you know, if you are alive and you're still in this world and you're not dead, that means there is a purpose to your life. There's something that I'm meant to do. And I'm like, look, There's been 3 occasions in the space of these 2 years that I was meant to die. And I haven't died yet. I'm not dead yet. So maybe there is something I'm meant to do in this world that I haven't done yet, that I need to do before I can leave this world. And so now I'm all about exploring and trying these things, and I really want to encourage people to go for it, go for these things, try it. Like, this is a new year, it's a new season, it's a fresh start for every single person in this world. You know, January and New Year is always a fresh start for everybody. And you know, let's start afresh together, let's do this journey together. You know, I'm all about community, I'm all about fellowship, and I'm learning to do these things because I'm pretty much a loner. Like, I like to get things done by myself. This sickness has taught me to ask for help, something I would have never done if I wasn't sick. I would have never asked for help. I would have never asked anybody to help me ever in anything. Like, sometimes my friends had to do my food shopping for me. Never in a million years would I have asked anybody to do that. There've been times I was sick, I needed somebody to come pick me up and take me to the hospital. Never would I ever ask anybody to do that. You know, like, all these things. I had to learn to ask for help. I had to learn to be vulnerable. You know, let's do a fresh start. Let's do this together. Let's just do things together, you know. And for every sick person out here, whatever sickness it is sickness, whatever it is, whether it's cancer, kidney disease, you know, something, if it's not a passing sickness like a flu, if it's like a chronic illness, and which kidney disease is, honestly, I feel your pain, and I feel the anger and the frustration and everything. But I just want to encourage you, whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, you just trust the process. Trust that if this is happening to you, embrace it. I'm not going to sit and say there's a reason for everything, because I don't know if there's a reason for this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know there is, but embrace it. But also, my main thing for this video is don't let it debilitate you. Don't let it limit your life. Don't let it confine you to a corner to cry, because I've also been in corners to cry for months, because I was just like, there's no point. What's the point? Because I don't even know if I'm going to live till tomorrow. Like, I'm not even know if I'm going to live till the end of the year, countless tomorrows. Do you know what I mean? So what's the point of planning? What's the point of doing anything? But you know what? I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust that God has a plan. I'm going to trust that He hasn't forsaken me. He hasn't left me. And for me, it's all about bringing glory to His name. And for me, it's about encouraging people now. Like, I might receive a miracle, I might not. I'm believing for it, and I know that I will. But right now, it's not even the issue. I still have to go to dialysis. I'm still going to hospital. It's not like I'm not talking from a perspective of somebody who's received what they're waiting, what they believed for, and I encourage you, like, oh no, you know, because it's happened to me, it can happen to you too. Believe it, receive it. No, I'm talking from from the standpoint of somebody who's still in the crap, who's still in the mud. I'm still in the crap. I still throw up. I still feel sick. I still feel nauseous. I still feel extra tired. I still sleep more than I should because my body can't take it. I still do all these things. But I want to encourage you that despite all of that, in spite of all of that, I still believe that there is a purpose for my life. I still believe there is something I need to do. I still believe that people I can encourage. I still believe that there is a reason to me. And I'm not my sickness. I am not this sickness, you know. And I just want to encourage people with that. I can do so much many more videos just like talking about the different aspects of this journey, mentally, emotionally. You know, I see a therapist, I see a psychologist. It's just very hard, you know. And there's nothing with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just explaining to you the different sides of it. And I will unveil, talk about these things as time goes on. But the main thing of this video is honestly, Happy New Year. But honestly, sit down, write down what is it that you want to do, what is it that you want to achieve. For me, for 2017, I didn't have plans because I didn't believe in plans anymore, because it's like, what's the point of having plans and believing and dreaming if things like that happen where you feel sick, you don't even know if you're going to make it to the end of the year. But for me, the biggest thing was like being able to travel. Travel was something I did all the time with my dad. Me, my dad, and my sisters travel all the time. And with this sickness, it's very complicated to travel because you have to find a clinic that can do dialysis and they can do it properly and blah, blah, blah. It's complicated. And last year now, I went to Ghana. You know, I've never traveled since this dialysis situations. And, you know, normally people do baby steps. They go like, I don't know, they go to London and for a few days so they can get dialysis to London. Maybe they go somewhere in Europe. I just went straight to Africa, went to Ghana with this sickness. it was interesting, and that's a video for another day. I got sick, yes, I thought I was gonna die. Like, not I thought, I almost died. It was interesting, but I made it. I went to Ghana, I saw my grandparents, they saw me, I saw my relatives, I saw my aunties and uncles I've not seen in years, and everyone was so happy to see me because I didn't think they would see me because of everything that was going through my health. And I made it back to the UK. It's just been like a roller coaster, but you know what? I always said to God, I wanted a life of adventure, and that's my adventure, and that's what I get to live. And I want to encourage you guys not to really put yourself in a corner. You know, if a sick person like me can do things that she's not meant to do, then anybody can do things that the world thinks or you think you're not meant to do. So really, really pursue what's in your heart. Write them down and pursue them. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.